I'm Doug Fogel, and I am officially applying for one of your copywriting coach openings. I believe I'm a very qualified candidate for this opportunity due to my career as a copywriter. That spans about 10 years, and say 4.5 of those years were as a staff writer for Casey Research and a company called True Market Insiders. In terms of my freelance aspect of my career, I've worked for Agora Financial, I've worked for Investors Alley, I've done some work for Angel Publishing, Dr. Al Sears, Institute of National Healing. You get the idea. And as you can imagine, during all that time, I've written many promotions, email campaigns, video scripts, and all of that. And as fun as that was, and as rewarding as that was, it wasn't my favorite part of being a copywriter. My favorite part was in the review sessions where we would sit down and go through copy that other writers have written and critique them with the idea of making them stronger, making them more conversational, with making them follow the rule of one much more closely. And I would go so far as to say that the people I've worked for would say that the contributions I gave as a copy critiquer were as important, if not more important, than the writing that I did. See, editing is my strong suit. Because prior to my having been a copywriter, I worked as a journalist and editor for a chain of weekly newspapers in Cleveland, Ohio. And that was called Sun Newspapers. And at the time, they were the largest group of weekly newspapers in the U.S. So as an editor, I obviously did a lot of I assigned stories to writers. I edited those stories. I wrote headlines. I would sit down with writers and talk with them whenever there was a need for us to make sure we had the facts right, so that we were giving unbiased news reports and so forth. So that experience helped me immensely as a copywriter, and especially as a copywriter who had input on other people's copy. So I really see the opportunity of putting my copy critiquing skills to work for you at Copywriter Marketer as a great opportunity that I can't afford to not attempt to get. I would really like to work for you guys. And you probably don't remember me, but I've been to a number of AWAI conferences, and we've chatted in the past about various things, in the world of copywriting and so forth. And I really like the way you have a family feel. I like the way that you're loyal and you care about the people that not only hire you but work with you and all of that. And it would be amazing to be a part of that. Now, one of the things that you asked for in this video was to explain or talk about my favorite job. Well, in all honesty, I have to say that would have been when I was a feature writer for the Sun newspaper chain. And it was mainly because I got the opportunity to do some really crazy stories. They would send me out to places like Wisconsin in the winter to go ice fishing with a group of people and write about it, or go up in a hot air balloon for a local fair and write about the experience. Things like that. It was really fun. And also in the course of doing that, I had the opportunity to interview some amazing people from all walks of life. Some of them are pretty well known. Former First Lady Barbara Bush, the famous golfer Jack Nicklaus, actor named Hal Holbrook, who used to do the Mark Twain thing. I don't know if you remember, but he did a stand-up thing in a theatrical setting where he impersonated Mark Twain. That was my favorite thing I've ever done as a professional writer. And now for the other side, the job or the project that was the most difficult and hardest to deal with. That one. Oh, there was a few, but the one that stands out was something I did for my previous employer that required my taking an old promotion and tweaking it to be applicable for a completely different newsletter. See, this company had newsletters that went out to investors. The initial version of this promotion I was charged to rewrite was aimed at a higher income audience. They wanted me to tweak that so that it would apply to maybe a novice investor or somebody who was not all that well versed in how to make money in the markets. Well, I looked at the promotion, and it was so badly written. I mean, if I had been in charge of the company, I would not have even run it. I would have started from scratch. It's kind of like it's a lot easier to build a new house than to try to correct one that's got a lousy foundation. But that's what they wanted me to do. So I made the changes so that it would be applicable for this second publication for the lower tiered, so to speak, prospect. And I played around with the language to try to make it like more coherent, because in all honesty, it wasn't very coherent at all. And I spent maybe 4 or 5 weeks on this. Now, I was doing this work in between having had other projects to work on and other duties and so forth. So I get this thing done, and I thought I did a pretty good job. And the boss didn't like it. He says, I didn't want you to tear it all apart and rewrite it. I just wanted you to make it work for this other publication. And I'm like, oh boy, okay. So what I did was I went back to the original document that had been submitted to me to work on, and I just made the changes that reflected that we were now going after this other newsletter, prospects for this other newsletter, as opposed to the initial group of people it had been targeted for. I don't know if they ever did anything with that or not. I didn't hear another thing about it after I went through all this work to change it. So what are you going to do? I continued to work for these people for a while, and that's how it all ended. In any event, that's my video presentation. Hope that we get a chance to talk in a group setting, interview setting. I think we could be a really good fit together. I enjoy your missives, and hey, if the stars are aligned, maybe we'll work together and make the world a better place by getting people more successful in copywriting. Thanks for your time. Take care.